You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast, exposing the struggles and celebrating the successes in the life of coaches who are action takers and creating authentic impact in today's world. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your reach, or exploding your impact, you're in the right place right now. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Now, here are your hosts of the Coach's Journey podcast.
So I'm Dr. Sherry Flewellen, and with our co-host, Faisal Insan, and we have an amazing guest, which you guys are going to absolutely adore getting to know her over this podcast. She's actually a repeat personality in our community, because she was a presenter for us almost a year ago, might have been a little bit longer than that, on a whole day that we did on lead gen as a coach. And she's the master of Instagram. And so I don't know if that's going to come up today. And if it doesn't, that's totally okay, because we've got a lot of resources for you we can refer you back to. But she's got so much to share about her journey as a coach that I'm so excited for you guys to hear what she's been doing and kind of the journey that she's been through. But Kelly and Faisal, as you may or may not know, before we jump into the story, we love to share wins from this last week just to set the tone of awesomeness. And so, Kelly, would you like to start? It can be a business win, it can be a personal, family, it doesn't matter. Just something cool that you can celebrate and we can celebrate with you.
Oh, man. I feel like there's so much goodness. I'm always chasing the happy. So I feel like we've got wins left and right. So personal, we just had a roof put on. So that was a good bucket list item. And then personal wise, and then business wise, it's been amazing to go wider versus just deeper with clients. So we've had a lot of great corporate wins this past week with companies like really leaning in and maximizing their culture, and which in turn is maximizing their revenue and profit at the end. So those are all good wins.
Awesome. Now, did you have a roof before? We
just needed it put on, and it was like, not one of those fun things. So I've been putting it off, but I'm all about energy and keeping your energy. And that roof has been taking too much of my mind space. So the fact that it's done, I feel like a new human, like I just got a ton of space back.
That's awesome. I'm in the real estate space. I've literally never heard somebody talk about getting a new roof with such enthusiasm and bubble as you just did. So that's incredible.
Oh, yeah. I'm on the other side of it now. So I'm like, get back to my passion. Don't have to think of the roof anymore.
That's awesome. Faisal, how about you? What's some wins?
Wins. Lots of wins. I think on the business end, just getting ready from October on, I'm in travel mode. So I'll be in US and Mexico and Thailand, all over the place up until February, and even probably past that. Just getting ready for the event in October in Denver, and then there's one in Toronto, and then the Thailand one, which is really exciting for me. It's going to be a whole retreat, and working through that has been just amazing. The journey has been amazing. It just came out of nothing, and all of these events came out of nothing, and now it's shaping up to something that we're going to be actually doing, and it'll be fun to meet people in person, because it's been too many long years.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I can tell that you just are rare to go, like a caged animal getting ready to be released into the wild.
I am. That's a good analogy. That's kind of how I feel like.
So I would have to say one of my big wins is I wrote another ebook. I absolutely love writing. And so I'm getting ready to get that into a funnel. It's real estate related around syndications. And so I've given it to a few people that I trust their opinions, and they've given me some good feedback, little things I can tweak, but the overall general response was like, oh my gosh, it was so interesting. Because who really reads a real estate ebook and like thinks it's funny or interesting or engaging? Well, that was like, I was really working hard on that. And so I got good feedback on that. And so I'm super excited to as I told Faisal, to release it into the wild and see what happens. So that's my win for the week.
I love it. That's good. Good stuff.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. All right. So before we jump into Kelly's story, we are going to pause and talk a little bit about our sponsor for the Coach's Journey podcast. And it is the Coaching Mastery community. It is a really, really important community that is hosted by coaches for coaches. And the whole point of it is to create a supportive, a growth-oriented community for coaches to really kind of figure out how are they going to contribute in the world, where they're stuck, how, what are the hows of getting unstuck, and kind of all of the nitty-gritty things that you experience on your coaching journey. And the thing I love about the Coaching Mastery community is we're not like top down, in that we don't have like one coach that like Faisal, he's doing some amazing things, but the community is not like Faisal is our token coach and you must follow him, you must do everything he does. It's not that way, because every coach is different. We all have different ways that we can contribute. We all have different skill sets and different desires and dreams. And so it's a very rich tapestry of different types of coaches that are able to support each other in whatever path it is that they're wanting to take or they're on. So that's, I've reflected a lot over the last couple of weeks about our community. And I think the diversity of support is I think my favorite piece. What do you have to add to that, Faisal?
So, I was thinking about the whole, like when I'm thinking about my events, originally, like a couple of years back, I started doing these webinars. Most of the feedback that I got that was very useful for me came out of our community. I literally did those webinars, I shared it, and I got feedback from other professionals who have done this. And just this event, like you've seen, Sherry, I've posted all my trailers, all the content, like it gave me feedback, and I've had to do like 4 or 5 revisions after that. Much of it came from the useful kind of feedback came from the community. Yeah. To me, that's incredibly useful, because I don't know what the hell I'm putting out. I throw something together, like, okay, here you go. But just having a multiple set of eyes who are noticing different things, just that is incredibly valuable, other than all the other things that you mentioned to me.
Absolutely. And honestly, my ebook, I got a lot of feedback from folks in our community, which is great, because most of them are not in real estate. And so it gives me feedback from the perspective of who I probably am going to be sending the ebooks to. So it's amazing. If you guys want more information, go to coachingmasterycommunity.com or look us up at Facebook. We've got a free Facebook group that you are welcome to join and engage in, and you're going to get a lot of value out of it. All right, so we maybe touch on that again at the end. But I want to jump into Kelly, because she's got some important stuff on her schedule today. We want to honor her time and yours. Kelly, so excited to see you today. This is Kelly Adams.
Hello, glad to be here. I feel like every time I'm like, you can't woo woo, and it just like comes out. Like it's so woo woo, I'm here. Oh no, a cheerleader. Okay, let's go. Woo! All right, ready.
Yep. That's awesome. Kelly, one of the first questions we usually ask our coaching guests, how did you even get into the coaching space? What did that look like?
Yep. So coaching, I think just a little bit of segue just to introduce is I did own 2 brick and mortars from 2006 through 2018. So it was when I had felt like I had mastered my business and had been able to delegate, bring other people in, that I was looking for another passion. So at that point in time, when I first started back in 2017, I was actually a health and wellness and a mindset coach. The reason I became health and wellness is because I had some of my own health issues that came to fruition through burnout of growing my business, which actually brings me to what my legacy work here now is, to help individuals and organizations have balance and bank without the burnout. So I started as health and wellness, and I was like, I had healed myself holistically. I was having a lot of brain fog, confusion, really my health was going, I would say, like I was only, how old was I? I'm 43 now. I would have been like 36-ish or something at a time, way too young to be having these kind of issues. But what had happened while growing the business, tunnel vision to grow and scale, like I wasn't taking as good care of myself. I was focused on growing. My priorities became out of alignment. I ended up eating more fast food than I needed to. So when I healed my body, I started coaching other people. I was like, if I feel this good now, I need to share this with other executives and entrepreneurs so they can feel good and not have burnout. Then I actually only stayed like a health and wellness and mindset coach for about a year, because what I realized is just because I had healed and I was excited about it, that wasn't what my magic was. My magic was mindset. My magic is helping you unbecome. But my clients were getting amazing weight loss results, and it was all because of the mindset and the subconscious work. So dropped that part of it. And then I've been full-time coaching and consulting with individuals and organizations since 2019 exclusively, without the fitness part of my story in there.
Awesome. So can I just say, I totally relate to you on multiple levels. I am 43. I had a brick and mortar business from 2010 to 2019 is when I sold it. And yeah, the challenge of running that and the burnout, all of that, totally, I got you, girl.
Yeah. So in 2018, this will hit then too. We sold the company, had more money than I'd ever had in my entire life. And I'm laying there on the ground, fetal position. Is this as good as it gets? Mm-hmm. And I felt so tired. That's a different kind of tired. That's like depleted. Why should I feel this way? Like if I had just worked so hard to get to the top, wasn't it supposed to feel and look different? I'm getting goosebumps now because it just takes me back to that moment. So laying there in a fetal position, that's actually part of my coaching story too. I'm crying out, God, whoever listened, like in that moment, like, why do I feel so bad when everything looks so good? I also was able to articulate it at that time that I was a public success and a private failure. Mm-hmm. So although everything looked good on the outside, I had the house, we bought 2 cars one day. I had the 2.5, but 3 kids, the dogs, I had everything, but felt like I was still numbing out, like something was off. So that took me to my own journey. I've been doing mindset. My first mindset coach and personal development was all the way back in 2016, which supported growing the brick and mortars. But I really didn't leverage that and leverage like coming home to yourself as your greatest asset until I realized the validation stopped and the money stopped. And who am I if I'm not being constantly validated?
That's a really powerful point to be at. And I think as coaches, I've seen this and I experienced this as well. When I sold my business, I was generating income, and then all of a sudden, like, even though it was my own paycheck, I'm like, what is my value now? Like, I am a mom, I'm a wife, like I get those things, but I wasn't even contributing to our financial household and in that way. And I see a lot of other coaches who are transitioning out of maybe a W-2, and now they're struggling financially. And so to compound that feeling of financial failure on top of all of the other things, the mindset challenges we have when we're shifting identities and shifting career paths, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah. And I also had a lot of imposter syndrome that I had to work through at first, because offline in my companies, I was crushing it. I was the bomb. Everybody knew about me in my city, in my town. I was doing all the events, and it was an event management background I come from. And then all of a sudden move online. Nobody knows who I am. I felt like I had to prove myself. And that's a whole nother part of the story. So I think when we work sometimes for other people, it's easy to hide behind their logo, their identity. I'm Kelly with Coca-Cola, versus when you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a coach, a healer, it's all about you. There's nothing to hide behind. So I feel like that's when, as a coach or entrepreneur, I call them shadows. That's when the shadows come to the light. And I always say, when the shadows come to the light, we gain our power and our fears lose theirs. So that kind of would probably be a good segue into like where we're heading is that. So
I just love listening to this, and I love being the youngest one in the room. I don't know why I'm enjoying that.
You've got more gray hairs than I do.
I do.
I'm super gray, but my hair girl's really good. She colors it. She said, I've been gray for so long. I'm like, just make it blonde, make it white, whatever we need to do.
But I think the thing that I love is because you guys have had probably a few more years of experiences that are different. And I was just thinking about, like, most of the people that I'm close with, they're actually much older than me. Yeah. They're either in their mid 40s or early 50s. Yeah. Sometimes even more than that. And like one of my close friends, he is like 10 years older than me. And when he talks, he's like, in our age group. And then I stop, I'm like, why do you always put me in your age group?
Yeah. So it used to bother me when I first came online, honestly, because I was like thinking, who am I competing with? And then I realized my wisdom is collapsing time for my clients. My mistakes get to become their learning. So that's that. What I had to do is find somebody who was older and wiser than what I was in that moment to tap into, to follow. Like, she didn't know I was following her, but you know what I mean? Somebody else I needed to embody to see somebody older, more successful in the coaching industry. Because when I entered in, it was a younger demographic. Like literally some of my clients in the beginning, I was like the mom of mindset. So like that's like an idea of like the age discrepancy. But then my power was activated when I realized that like older just means wiser. Like age is irrelevant. Age is an illusion. How do you feel?
Well, thank you, wise ones.
Yeah.
No, really, I completely agree with that.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast.